Pujya Dr. K.C.Vardachari, Volume 1, Discourses on the Philosophy of Sri Ramchandra's Rajayoga, Lecture 9. Master says that there is a difference of levels attained by several types of souls. He agrees with the ancients that those who are practicing sinful deeds attain a condition or state of hell, and those who are ignorant by good deeds most probably attain the level of paradise. But to those who are innocent, it is the world of Brahma. But as for the wise and learned people, they create for themselves an artificial paradise in which they try to live. Obviously, the learned and the wise men build their own castles and dwell in them. It might be very uncomplimentary to the wise and learned, but as I have always held, the process of learning involves a constant process of unlearning also. Any wise man going to advanced study in any subject would be asked to revise his original premises and rethink them and unlearn the usual habits of mind. That way leads to what we may call a development of inner being. And also it leads to the ultimate realization of greater awareness of reality. That is why every true learner is in a constant process of learning, which involves a process of unlearning. That will also suggest to us the contradiction in Vidya and Avidya. Today's Vidya may be tomorrow's Avidya. Therefore, there is a relativity in the very notion of knowledge and the notion of ignorance. We have to arrive at a stage of transcendence over these fixed goals or limited notions of Vidya and Avidya. So Master says that we must come to that condition of innocence, which is complete ignorance, as defined by the Master. So we have to use complete ignorance in order to reach that state of complete ignorance.
Master says you have to unlearn many things before you learn the true nature of the divine. Okay, that's what he means by this. Today's Vidya may be tomorrow's Avidya, means what we think is knowledge today, tomorrow may become untruth. So that may be the truth in even in secular studies also, not only in the spiritual studies, in the secular studies also. What science says today, tomorrow it will disprove. This is not so. We have found something new. So similarly, probably today's Vidya may become tomorrow's Avidya. So it's a constant process of unlearning before we start learning as well.
Right. Is it possible? Master says that in his own life, he had not read anything till perhaps he has attained that state. Afterwards, he began reading the old literature or learned treatise. That made him understand the limitations of those learned works and also to size up the level of understanding of each of these learned men. So, personal anubhava is more important, and ultimately, it is the only means by which you can attain that state of complete ignorance, which entitles you to enjoy the real realm of Brahma or Brahma Loka. This leads us further on to what is called the worlds of infinity, in which the realized souls, who are, as he calls it, swimming and expanding, so that they are one with the ultimate without any kind of separation. In the chapter entitled Man and His Nature, Master tries to clarify the very person who wants to attain the ultimate state. A man who wants to attain the ultimate state is one who is continuously in relation to the ultimate condition. But he has also developed another end of pole to him. God has only one pole, but man has two poles. One pole is in God, and the other pole is at the very end, namely this world, external world. That is why he calls him bipolar, having two poles. Now, the one pole, namely God, is, as you may say, beyond even the mind. It is the state of thumb, and this mind is connected with the first thing that comes out of the thumb, namely the first mind. That continues to be the constant healer and energy and life. From that point, he goes on developing or unwrapping himself with the processes which come in a natural way. There are four processes taking place at this state. Manas, which is purely one with which is purely one with the first mind or show. Then there is Chit, then there is Buddhi, and there is Ahankar. So long as these four are concerned, you might find ego also is well developed. Intellect is there, and there is a feeling that there is ego. These would be in their purest or subtlest condition in the earlier stages. They have come immediately after the soul is formed. In fact, the soul is eternal element in God, and when it comes out into play, the four come in along with it. They may be said to belong to the state of God. But afterwards, grossness develops, and several deeds or several knots develop. And at every state, there is what we call grossness, greater and greater grossness. At another point, Master describes the process, as it were, of the cocoon the soul weaves through its mind, within which it is trying to isolate or individuate itself. At that stage, it grows even, and there at, at, at that stage it grows even. And there, outer one is being formed by the mind. So it is the mind which is the powerful element in evaluation. In fact, we have gone to this condition. But at this level also, we have developed certain other things. We began to develop pleasure. We began to discriminate between what is pleasant and what is painful. Not what is right and wrong, but what is pleasant and what is unpleasant. I'll take a pause here.
Basically, the first, the the avidya is basically to develop the I-ness is the basic avidya. Once the moment we come out of the divine, we are surrounded by these four manas, chit, buddhi, and ahankar, and the ego, that is the I-ness develops. That is the basic avidya which we develop. Over that, we develop the other things.
So there are even today philosophers who consider that you will have to identify pain and pleasure with good and evil. The pleasant is good and the pain is evil, according to large masses of mankind. Some people invert it and say that pain is good, pleasure is evil. Either way, it does not solve the problem. We are in fact caught up in the dilemma of pleasure and what is less pleasure, and this has got wide application. In any case, man is today caught in this mind of dilemma and he wants to escape from this particular situation. But then man also has, as I have stated, a peculiar and unique quality, namely of having the mind continuous with it from the original first mind. The mind is passing, and that is why all our minds behave alike, and all of us have developed also. All of us are fragments of one supreme first mind, and that first mind, which is really cosmic in nature, has been individuated, isolated, and in some sense insulated from other individuals, so that it is only thinking of itself and not about other people at all. It is contradictory in one sense. It would like to absorb or even annihilate also. Now there is mind, and the unique quality of the mind is seen in its capacity to evolve to its lowest and the grossest form. Animals also have a mind, but because they are also degradations of the mind, and yet that mind is not conscious of its connection with the ultimate. It is only at the level of man that he becomes conscious of its original connection or force of the first mind. Our aim in all literature, in fact of philosophy, is to get at the original mind, which is pure, which is powerful, omnipotent in one sense. The mind does not lose its connection with the other end. Now, all that energy which we are expending on creation can be reversed, and we might try to find out and draw more power from that original soul if we have to escape from the pain, pleasure world of vision. I'll take a break, pause here.
Yeah, Vijay, then, as we already seen earlier, the moment we come out of the divine, we develop the manas, chit, buddhi, and ahankar, and simultaneously the ego develops. This ego is the I-ness, which is the basic avidya which we have. So because we have the basic connection with the divine, because of our nature of the bipolarity, we try to go back to the original state because we know that it is the omnipotent in one sense. The mind does not want to lose its connection with the other end. So naturally we try to go back to that connection because the animals don't have this knowledge. The humans have this knowledge that we have come from the divine. So we try to go back to that homeland.
Right.
That's the only way we can escape from this pleasure, pain game. Okay.
Right. So here he talks about we have developed certain other things. We began to develop pleasure. We began to discriminate what is pleasure and what is painful.
Yeah, and this pleasure and painful is basically for the survival of the organism. And in the bargain, we develop the selfishness also.
Right.
Yeah. It is only thinking of itself and not about other people at all. That is the selfishness it develops. It has to survive at the cost of any other thing. So that is the basis of this pleasure pain principle.
Right.
We'll continue if there is no other thing.
Yeah, I think this point, last sentence is important.
Yeah.
Now, all that energy which we are expending on creation can be reversed.
Right.
And we might try to find out and draw more power from that original soul if we have to escape from pain and pleasure.
Yeah. That means we have to withdraw into ourselves.
Yeah.
That is what happens during the meditation.
Okay. I'll read the next paragraph. Incidentally, Master says that even God has no mind. And that is correct for the obvious reason that mind is from the first point which has been created. So he himself is behind that mind. There are many people who think if you want to become anything, first destroy the mind. Then, by destroying the mind, you will be one with God without his mind. Master points out that this is not the way. The instrument of mind has been given to you to explore the ultimate grossness on one side and regain your subtle condition again and pick it up. The possibility for man is that he can have the continuous experience of the ultimate first mind to the grossest level. But that is possible only when you attain in full force the first mind within you. And since there is a loss of that force, you find that the lowest levels forget, though they are sustained by the original force, which can draw the first mind. So mind has to be used for this purpose. You cannot involve to your condition of the divine and transcend. I think there's a, you cannot evolve this, instead of involve, you should evolve. You cannot evolve to your condition of the divine and transcend unless you are able to use the mind that is given to you. Now, as a matter of fact, this is the struggle. Some people want you to become amanaska, amanaska, go beyond the mind and destroy the mind. If you destroy the mind, you destroy the instrument by which you can transcend the ladder. So there is no way of attaining that condition except by utilizing the mind.
KCV says again that we have to use the mind which is given to us by the God, and that is our instrument to get back to him. And by using that mind only we can get back. So we cannot destroy the mind. We have to utilize the mind as per the principles of the yoga by modulating it or controlling it. Okay, that's what KCV says. That's the only way we can evolve to the divine condition, by utilizing this mind through yoga, by doing the Chittavritti Nirodha. Jayadhar, you want to say anything?
No, I was just
Yeah.
Thinking there's a shloka, right? Like,
Yeah.
We have to use the mind, the higher mind. We must become the friend to the higher mind.
Right. You have to become a friend to the higher mind, or that is the analogy of those two birds.
Right.
Okay. The one bird watches when the other bird is eating. So that is the analogy of the two minds, two birds. One mind is ours and the other mind is the divine. So we have to be in tune with the other mind.
Right.
Or we have to be parallel. Our thought and the divine thought have to be parallel.
Right. Okay, I'll read ahead.
Yeah, please.
You must use your mind. You must use it yourself. The mind has to come to the lowest end and is in suffering, must turn back to get at the source or purity itself. Now, Master says, at this point, it cannot be done with your own efforts, but only a divine personality can help you to connect your lower end with your own higher end. Because you have created so many barriers to your own flexibility to connect yourself with the original condition. Therefore, the Supreme Personality or the Divine Personality alone can connect you back and also create that flexibility in you by molding your whole being, by removing the knots and interferences and putting back to the ultimate. And that is to be done by that mind. You are not able to achieve your goal yourself. The instruments of knowledge, so-called learned instruments of divine, or the instruments of karma, are useless because we have found them to be of no use. Nor the usual method of Rajayoga that is being practiced without the help of the divine connecting you with the ultimate is of any avail. There is no yoga otherwise. Your evolution, therefore, is almost clearly dependent upon your getting a divine personality to help you reverse back to your mind and connect it with the other pole. When these two poles are connected, there is a neutral point, and immediately you go to the other higher state or God. Without this connection of the lower, the higher is impossible. So this is what Pranahuti and introduction actually does.
Right. Yeah, here he says the karmas do not make you reach the divine. It's only the guru who tells, who already traveled the path and who knows the path and who has this connection with the ultimate being can only help you in taking you back to the homeland.
Right.
If you remember what Madhava said in the Kathopanishad, Nachiketa gets 3 boons from the Yama.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is that his father should accept him back and treat him like before.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is that he should know how to reach this Swarga, the method to reach this Swarga. So he tells about a Nachiketa Yagam, Agnistomam. Some Yaga he tells, and that goes by the name of Nachiketa Yagam. And the third boon he says, how to rid of this birth and death cycle.
Right.
The third one is the one which Yama says, I will give you so many other boons, but not this one, this knowledge. And he tempts him with a lot of pleasures. He says, I will give you a lot of land, he will give you so much money, he will give you a kingdom, he will give you so many a woman to enjoy. All those things he tells. But Nachiketa is steadfast and says, I want only that. Then Yama says, you are the right disciple to me because you are steadfast. And by doing these karmas and these yagas, what you asked in the second boon, that Nachiketa yaga, I attained this post of Yama, but this is only transitory. Even this post is only transitory. The ultimate thing is to know the Brahman, the ultimate being. And that I will tell you now. So that is the third boon. But so here Nachiketa got a disciple, a guru who can tell him how to reach the divine. So similarly, we have to have a guru who knows the path and who has traveled the path and can tell us how to reach there.
Mhm.
And that's what we have in our system through Pranahuti, made much easier.
Right. That is why Master says there is a great need for the man to have the divine personality who has attained this particular kind of connection with the ultimate and has to bring down that ultimate to every individual who seeks this particular condition of transcendence of mind. If you want to get transcendence over mind, it is possible not by annihilating the mind, but by connecting its two poles. Then alone you have access to enter into the divine.
The Master here very clearly says the need for the guru and who can connect your lower mind to the higher mind and make you transcend to the higher mind. Unless you have your own mind, which is the instrument for you to get back, you cannot do this. That's why you cannot annihilate the mind, but only by connecting to the higher mind and modulating it and controlling it, you can reach the higher mind. The guru helps here in our system through Pranahuti to go there.
Right.
I have a small query here. So the two poles here are the same as the lower part and upper part of heart, or something else is talking about?
No, the two poles which are mentioned here is like one pole of our mind. My understanding is in God, and the other pole is towards the manifestation, which is the world.
Right, right. So the one mind is one end of the this pole. The lower pole is our mind. The upper pole is the ultimate being. The lower heart and upper heart only at a much lower level.
Okay.
They are different. They are different.
Any other questions? One just comment
Yeah.
or experience I want to share on this last paragraph
Right.
is like we get this transcendence over mind in our Pranahuti sessions. When
Exactly. Exactly.
so it's very easy for us to intuitively feel the correctness of this these statements, because this transcendence of our mind uh, that's already experienced by almost all abhyasis.
Yeah.
As a result of pranahut.
Right. Right.
So, and then we get back to so to say, like during meditation, these two poles are not felt, and then we come back and we are back to the physical world, right? Feeling the pole which is towards the world. So that experience, if we contemplate over this period of meditation where we had this experience of no mind, so to say, then the courage or conviction comes to move towards the divine.
Right, right. And there is in the complete works of Ramchandra, volume 5, I think we have read this, I don't know. There's chapter 10, the inner awakening of reality. Shall I read that?
Yeah, please.
When we think of the goal, its longing brings the distance in view because we have become used to such thinking. We try to see the atoms in the cosmos, but we do not think of ourselves as being constituted of atoms. In the beginning, we enter what is behind matter and we touch only the ground and not reality. When we dive deep, then we find the pearls. The wisdom of man is that he should make the unfavorable things favorable. In other words, we should try to succeed in converting the whole material force into spirituality. It so happens that in the Sahajamar system, we get a competent master to help us do so. All the fibers of our being become spiritualized and reality begins to radiate. I am preparing such souls so that they may have the full benefit of my services. It is of course a tragedy that is written to a Abhyasi. It is of course a tragedy that you have lost your two brothers in the Second World War. But if you study deeply, you will feel that you have found many brothers to love. People of higher attainments begin to love each other. But there comes a time when that affection seems to be lost because it merges itself with its own reality. Love is the hunger of the human soul for divine beauty, according to Socrates. According to me, love is the inner awakening of reality. The gist of Indian philosophy, as I understand it, is to think everyone as your own, and in that case, there will be no bickering and no wars. I don't think that you are a coward at heart, but the circumstances made you think like that. Really speaking, disappointments make one a coward. If we remove the prefix, appointment remains. That means we have been appointed for something. When we have been appointed for a certain job, we can never think that we are unable to do it. That means a sort of wave is working smoothly and you carry on with it. In that case, there is no idea either of the past or of the future. So in this life, we should remember that our duty is to get back to the original land, the homeland, to get back to the homeland. So if you have that appointment in your view, then we strive for it. Karma works in its own sphere. Why then should we not work in our own sphere, which is pure and simple? Dreams sometimes bring into view the state that is behind our thoughts. Sometimes poets who are not spiritual give us spiritual expressions because accidentally they touch the spiritual plane. Similarly, it is the case in your dream. You have written a very nice idea. I tried to find God, but I had no help from my religion. Religion is really the signpost, and you will have to pave the right way for yourself. I also appreciate your idea that the ceiling is the impediment for birds to soar higher, which you have called grossness. Really speaking, we have so many limitations. If they are cut, soaring higher becomes easy. Sahajmarg stands for this, which is one of the unique aspects of the system. So, here he says, once we cut our limitations, we can soar higher into the higher mind. So our mind has limitations. So we have to get rid of those limitations, then we can get back to the higher mind. I think we can stop here.
Yeah.
Want to say
Anyone
something?
wants to share anything or have any questions? If not, we'll conclude.
Namaste.
Namaste.